We're in Springfield, Massachusetts. We're right in front of St. Michael's the Archangel's Cathedral. It's the cathedral for the Springfield Catholic Diocese, which serves all of Western Massachusetts. And we're in front of the founder of the church itself. It says, in memorandum, Reverend Michael P. Gallagher died the 1st of June in the year 1869. The church is probably from 1867. I'm going to look it up on a sign. It was like the fourth Catholic church in the Western Massachusetts. It became the cathedral because this is where the bishop decided to settle as the biggest place, a community inside of Western Massachusetts. So he was the founder and the first pastor, Michael Gallagher. Now he's buried to the left of the entrance as you come inwards, and we'll go to the right side. Okay, to the right of the entrance says in memorandum, Reverend Thomas O'Sullivan died the 14th of September, 1870. He was the second pastor of this church, and he also, like the first one, was buried right alongside here. All pastors after that are probably buried in St. Michael's Cemetery, which is on also State Street, or they're probably buried where their family wanted them to be buried. There are several though in St. Michael's, I know that for sure. And there's been a lot of them. I would bet there's been 15 head pastors over the course of the last 160 years. And they all served in a church that became St. Michael the Archangel's Cathedral. And that's an important distinction because you'd have a set of pastors here doing the masses, and also at the same time you'd have a bishop, and this would be his cathedral. So you had two functions here, and the pastors would serve alongside the bishop in a very, very important events. So now we're going to go backwards. Someday I'll get inside here and take videos, but the reason why I'm going backwards, if you go through those doors and you go into the basement and then you go towards the altar section, or where the altar would be above you, you'd be in a crypt below the altar in the basement. That's the St. Augustine Mortuary Chapel. Down there in the basement is a chapel, and the burial of the first three bishops of this Springfield Catholic Diocese are buried down below there. So if you're in the St. Augustine Mortuary Chapel, there's going to be three bishops buried there. The first bishop is the founder bishop. In 1880, Western Massachusetts and Central Massachusetts was made into a Catholic diocese, separate from the New England diocese that served Boston and the greater area around there. And since then, there's been even further restrictions to Western Massachusetts only. But the first bishop you'll meet from 1880 to 1892 was Bishop Patrick Thomas O'Reilly. He was born in 1833 and he died in 1892, and he's buried with great honor in the mortuary chapel of this church. If you go to my webpage, I have a list of all the first few bishops, and I'll talk about where they served, and they might have their obituary on most of them. Now after that, the second bishop to come along was probably the most important bishop in the history of the Springfield Diocese. His name is Bishop Thomas Daniel Bevan. He lived from 1851 to 1920. He was the bishop from 1892 to 1920. Before that, he was a pastor at the Holy Rosary Church in Holyoke. And when he became the bishop, he noticed that his former friend and pastor in Holyoke, Patrick Harkins, was building so much to get the Catholics of Holyoke prepared for a better life, including a hospital, a big church and school campus, and an orphanages for girls, boys, and old age homes for women and for men. And when that was, when he was made a bishop, he took on those projects and made the orphanages for both of those groups even larger. And so you ended up having a very large Brightside orphanage And then he also, this Thomas Bevan, he also made old age home for men, and he named it after the last names of his father and his mother, the Bevan Kelly Old Age Home for Men. And that is still in place. So he did a lot for the Catholics of Western Massachusetts. He's probably the best and most important bishop of all. Now, the third bishop to come along from 1920 to 1949 was Bishop Thomas Michael O'Leary. He served for 29 years, and he was a great pastor to get all of these institutions stronger and stronger, like schools and hospitals. And he worked greatly with the nuns too, Sisters of Providence, Sister St. Joseph, to get them even more populated and doing more. So he got a lot of money to do that. Now after that, the bishops would be buried in St. Michael's Cemetery. So only 3 are buried in the crypt there. And remember, 2 founder priests are out front. 5 people are thus buried on this city block. What a great honor to be buried outside a cemetery. Now, just because we're talking about the priest and the bishop, I'm going to show you their rectory. And the rectory is to our side. Again, it's not only a rectory, but it's a bishop's home too. So it does double duty. At the height, I bet 8 priests lived in there, bishops and priests that served in churches, and also the pastors of this St. Michael's would have been in there. Now, it's a great area, and we'll talk about that next. Thank you very much.